I'm so incredibly wet. I'm not the good kind of wet. Very bad kind of wet. I've got liquid pouring out of every orifice. Some of those orifices I'm only just discovering today. How are you feeling, Matt?
Similarly moist.
We just went up a big hill in a funicular.
It's like a lift. It's like a big lift on a slope.
Big lift on a slope, but the correct name is a funicular. And then we're heading back to God no, I don't know where we're going. It's very hot. I'm a little bit addled.
Why is it not?
What's the best video game ever made, Matt?
Probably the original Super Mario Brothers. I'd say.
Best video game, Si?
Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Ooh.
Best video game, Will?
Skyrim.
Best video game, Hassan?
Tomb Raider.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
So, back from Budapest, it was absolutely phenomenal. Great city. Loved the food, great company. Very tame stag do, but I really enjoyed it. And I think I realised like how much I needed a break. I was getting burnt out. For the past 6 months, I've been working like 12 to 15 hour days, like from 7:30, 8 in the morning till 7:30, 8 at night at least. And it's completely burnt me out. And I couldn't figure out why I was getting so annoyed. Not annoyed, but I was just getting frustrated with certain things about what I was doing. I didn't feel like I was achieving things or struggling to get work done some days. But I just needed a break, I think. I just needed to take some time off. And that was the perfect thing. I probably didn't get as much rest and sleep as I should have. There was, a fair bit of walking around. It was definitely a city break, but just had a great time. And back and raring to go. I've got some footage of Budapest that I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys. And I'll probably do it within this video. But yeah, back out in the West Midlands countryside. And I've got a little cameraman now. He's just behind me, you can't see him, but that's why the magic of we're moving. That's how this is happening. I haven't just become a magician. But yeah, I'm back and raring and ready to go. I think we forget like how important it is to take those breaks. I know everyone's always like, they respect the grind and all that stuff, but like at some point, you have to take a break. You have to just sit back and relax and not do anything. Like I kind of planned to do some vlogging in Budapest, but I recorded some stuff for sure, but I didn't take my camera with me. I didn't take my mics with me, partly because there just wasn't enough room in my hand luggage, and partly because I just wanted to experience it as a trip without having to think about content and all that stuff. I just wanted to enjoy myself without having to, think about how am I going to make content out of this. I feel the same about games now as well. I think, I got to the point where every game I was playing, I was having to stream it. And for some games, it does make it less enjoyable. And I know some streamers are really good at playing stuff off stream before they play it on stream. I struggle to find the time to do that because I'm just like constantly either making content or playing games. I don't know where the time is to actually play more games outside of that. It's part of the problem. I remember when I was younger, right? I loved drinking coffee in Starbucks. And in my head, as like a 16, 17-year-old, I thought the best solution was to get a job at Starbucks because then I could drink Starbucks coffee all the time. But then I realised that it would ruin that experience for me because I wouldn't get to drink as much coffee as I want just sitting down and chilling. I'd have to work as well. And there's an element of that with streaming, right? It makes something that you're passionate about and something that you love doing and something that you started doing with your friends and whatever, and it turns it into a job. And don't get me wrong, I still really enjoy streaming. I still really enjoy that. But I think there's definitely games now where I'll go, you know what, I'm going to save that for off stream, or I'm going to play that in a different way because I just want to be able to sit and be absorbed in it and be immersed in it. And I think sometimes when you're streaming, it breaks that immersion because you're constantly going, got to talk to chat, I've got to look at this, I've got to look at that. There's lots of different things that you've got to have your head into to keep it an entertaining piece of content, rather than just you sitting there silently playing a game. There are some streamers that manage that just sit and play the game. I don't know how they do it. They don't talk to chat, they don't communicate. I don't know how they get the viewership that they do. Obviously they're doing something that works. Maybe it's just that they're better at the games and people are watching it purely for the gameplay rather than the streamer, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm kind of raring and ready to go again. I'm looking forward to getting back to producing more content. I'm still trying to find that balance between going, how much should I be streaming versus how much should I be creating content. I've got some big ideas that I want to do, and I'm just trying to figure out in my head how to do it. Here's the funny thing, right, about when you start stuff like this, or when you're doing anything creative or anything new, nobody knows what they're doing. Everyone's making it up as they go along, and you're learning as you go. So in my head, I'm like, I would love to make a big documentary on gaming or game development. I've got no idea how to do that other than the stuff that we're doing right now. So I'm going to figure that out, and that's something we're going to do definitely. So I always wondered, right, like how do people, you see TV shows being made, documentaries being made, all of that kind of stuff. You've got no idea how people actually get into that stuff. And I just realised it's exactly what I'm doing now, right? You just make stuff, you buy equipment, you make stuff, you learn how to do it on the fly, you read books, you watch videos, whatever that is, you just figure it out and you make stuff and you put it out, and then you just create, and then hopefully at some point that resonates with someone. Hopefully at some point, the stuff that you're making gets in front of people, and maybe they are the people that want you to make more stuff. Maybe they're the people that want you to produce more. Maybe they like your style, maybe they like your delivery, I don't know. But I don't think there's any magic to it. I don't think there's anything mysterious about it. I think you just have to do the work. I mean, I know there's more traditional routes, like people go to film school, people do that kind of stuff, but when I was watching that Dan Mace kind of tutorial thing, he kind of just said you can figure this stuff out on your own. You can just make it and figure it out, and if you keep doing that, you'll get better and better, and you get better at telling stories. That you don't need the film school stuff. It's just that's a more formal and structured way, and maybe that gets you slightly further down the road. But I think if you can learn to solve those problems, if you can learn to do those stuff yourself, then I think you're going to be in a better position. I don't know, because I'm learning myself, but I think you're going to be in a better position. And I remember reading about Steven Spielberg on kind of his first films that he was making. He was kind of learning to use the cameras as he was making the film. It's almost a camera in one hand and the manual in the other, and just getting through it. And that's basically what I'm doing. I'm just figuring it up and making it up as I go along, and hoping that what comes out at the other end is good quality. But there is definitely a fear when you are saying, right, I'm going to create this bigger thing, or you're going to get other people involved. If you're saying you're going to make my thing at the moment is, I'd quite like to make a documentary on game development with indie developers and interview them and talk about their games and the processes and how long they do it and what they sacrifice to get these games made, and how much money they make and all those things. But the act of getting those other people involved feels like you have a responsibility to tell their story and tell it well. And I think that's the fear there, is that, am I good enough to be able to do that? But if not me, then who? So it's on the cards, and I'm going to keep pushing towards that. I'm going to keep practicing the craft, and then hopefully we get into a position where I can create something. I think the daunting thing about a documentary like that is you could be making it for a year or 2 years. It's not something that I do in 10 minutes or 15 minutes on a walk around a nature reserve in the Midlands. It's something that requires consistent effort over a long period of time. And that, for someone with a head like mine, is challenging because often you just get pulled in lots of different directions. Often your brain is pulling you in lots of different directions. I don't have any diagnosis about like what that means. I'm just telling you how it feels for me. I am often in the middle of 50 different tasks that are all half done, and I think if you're making something much bigger that requires effort over a long period of time, there is a risk there that you lose faith in the project, or you lose commitment halfway through. And that's not a position I'd want to put myself in, or any of the people that would be involved in a project. But watch this space, because I'm looking forward to doing it, and I think there's a story to be told there, basically.